So, I call the meeting to order. Before we get started, let's introduce everyone in this meeting. I'm Sandy Brock. When I call your name, please confirm that you can hear me by verifying that you are present. I'll start with the commissioners. Amira, since you're on my screen, you get to go first.
Present.
Thank you. Travis.
I'm here.
Noah.
Present.
And Jonathan.
Present.
All right. The commissioners are here. We'll go staff. Jan?
Present.
Okay. This open meeting of the Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely via Zoom pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order, as most recently extended on March 29th, 2023. Access information for the public has been provided on the town website. This meeting is being recorded. Please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. This is done on a phone by pressing *6. As chair, I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. Please note that you will not have screen sharing privileges, but staff can display any visuals per your cue. During periods of public comment, participants must use the raise hand icon in the Zoom menu bar to indicate they would like to speak. This is done on a phone by pressing *9 and then pressing *6 to unmute when you are called upon. Participants who raise their hand will be recognized one at a time and will be promoted to speak. Finally, each vote taken will be conducted by a roll call vote. As a reminder, the Commission is concerned with state and town wetlands and stormwater regulations. Concerns outside this purview must be addressed to the appropriate boards. For example, road conditions must be addressed with the Select Board. Traffic concerns must be addressed with the Planning Board. Fabulous. Let's see here. So we have a public hearing that's a continuation, right?
Yep.
Is everyone here for that? And can we just start with that?
Yep, we can start with that.
Okay, great. All right. Pursuant to the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act and Grafton Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing to act upon a notice of intent and application for Grafton Wetlands Bylaw permit for the repair of a septic system at 15 Keith Hill Road. And who is here to speak to that?
Okay. Evening, everyone. This is Nate Boutz with Land Design Collaborative.
Can you share your screen or is it not working?
I can share mine.
Okay. No, I'm just talking. He doesn't have his photo up. Not that that's critical or anything, but we're just looking at an icon. The logo. But, go ahead, Nate. Please, kind of. Oh, I get it. I know. I understand. Thank you very much.
Yep.
If you want now, go for it.
Okay, thank you. I'll keep this very brief. Nate Boutz with Land Design Collaborative here on behalf of Patrick Haggerty. This is for a septic repair at 15 Keith Hill Road. We had the last meeting on August 19th, and it was continued because no DEP file number was received. We have since received a DEP file number. No comments from DEP. And with that, happy to answer any questions.
All right. Thank you very much. So, Jan, nothing since last time has changed except for that we received the DEP number?
That's correct. And their only comment was asking if they've received approval from Board of Health, which they did on August 1st.
All right, great. I'll go around to the commission just to check to see if anyone else has any other questions. I think last time we had kind of addressed them. Was everyone present at the hearing that we had for this previously?
So Travis and Jonathan missed that hearing, but they watched the video and signed the Mullen form, so they're eligible to vote.
Very good. Thank you. So I'll just, at this point, go around once to everyone to see if they have anything else to add. Then we'll open it up to the public. And if nothing else, we'll continue on. So Noah, do you have any questions or comments on this?
No questions.
Amira, any questions or comments?
No questions or comments.
Jonathan, any questions or comments?
Nope. I watched the video from last time and I've looked at the notes and everything, and I don't have any questions.
Thank you very much. And then Travis.
Nope, nothing for me.
Okay. Thank you very much. I have no questions either. I will open it up to the to the public. Jan, let me know if anyone's there or if there's anyone that raised their hands.
Oh, man.
Not hearing anything, Jan?
Nothing from the public.
Nothing for the public. So basically, last time we had reviewed this, staff had given their take on it, and there was a recommendation to close the hearing, issue an order. The special conditions that we had chatted about was no disturb signs shall be installed along the existing tree line adjacent to wetland flag 1-3, then along no disturbance line from wetland flag 4-6. No disturb barrier shall be installed along the no disturb line from the existing tree line, intersects the no disturb line through WF wetland flag number 6. That's all the conditions that we had that we came up with. Correct, Jan?
That's right.
I'll go back to the applicant. Nate, any questions on those conditions?
No questions.
All right. Since no one else had any questions, no comments from the public, do I have a motion to close the hearing, issue an order of conditions with the conditions I just previously stated?
I'll move to close the hearing and issue the permit for 15 Keith Hill Road with the conditions as discussed.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All right. So we have a motion and a second. We will do a roll call vote. Amira, you're on the screen, so you get to go first.
Yes.
Noah, your vote?
Yes.
All right. Travis
Yes.
and Jonathan. Not hearing
I
Jonathan.
feel like we lost Jonathan. I don't see his screen
Yeah.
anymore.
Okay. All right. We're not going to hold this up since we do have a quorum. I am also a yes. I was about to say unanimous, but that I can't until Jonathan gets back. But that's okay. We have a quorum. We can proceed with that. So, yep. So we're all set. It passed, and you'll just contact our staff to get the order of conditions. So, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. So let's give Jonathan a minute to get back on. I wonder what was going on.
It kind of seems like maybe he lost power or something. Like
Oh,
it
really?
doesn't even look the way it normally looks when someone just has their camera off. Normally it
Gotcha.
shows their name on it. It's just a dark screen.
Right.
And I think now he's gone.
Yep. Yeah, that I don't know. I mean, I don't think any of us live that close to him. I have power, but don't know. So because we do have a quorum, we'll, hopefully Jonathan will kind of join us again, but we can continue on. So Jan, action items, anything particular?
We can start with the minutes.
Start with the minutes. Okay. So we have minutes from August 19th and July 22nd. Does anyone have any comments or questions or proposed edits to them? Go around, roll call. Travis?
Just that I wasn't here for August 19th, and I can't remember if I voted on those or not.
You can, because it is, you're actually just reading it. You don't have to be here to approve it. That is up to you how you want to do it, to be quite honest. But
And then
as long as, yeah.
That's fine. No comments on July 22nd.
Okay. Amira?
No comments.
Noah?
I also was not here for the August 19th meeting.
Right.
I'm not sure. Is that stuff I can't vote on because of that?
No. So this isn't an administrative action. So just like you would review something coming in, a letter or something, the minutes, if you don't understand something, you would ask what was happening. So because it's that administrative side of things, you can vote on it. As always, if you want to abstain, that's perfectly up to you. What I'll do is we'll do the motions for each of the minutes. just to give people the opportunity if they weren't here and they don't feel comfortable voting for it. But that's not really an issue. And has Jonathan gotten back on yet?
Actually, I think he
He's
just
joining now.
did.
Yep, coming on now.
Okay. So, Jonathan, are you back with us?
Yes. I don't know what just happened.
Okay.
Everything went choppy, and then I could hear people talking, but I couldn't touch anything on my screen, so it just crashed completely and
Yeah.
it was screened and then came back. But I'm now back. So I apologize. I don't know what just happened. I was just staring.
That's
away.
okay. Earlier today, when I was home on a business call, I kind of went almost nothing because my internet feed went really low and then it disappeared, and then I just rebooted it and I got right back on. I don't know. It was a Wi-Fi thing. So
Yeah, we've BIOS is pretty consistent here at the house, but I didn't hear screaming from upstairs of that nothing's working. So I'm assuming it was just me. So did I miss the vote then, or?
yeah, you did miss the vote since it was a quorum that. So we were just talking about the meeting minutes. Do you have any comments or questions or edits on any of the two August 19th and July 22nd?
No, I went back and looked at the August 19th because that was the one I missed. And I was present at the other meeting. So no, I don't have any questions or comments.
All right, sounds good. So can we have a motion for the July 22nd meeting minutes? We're going to separate them so everyone can, if you weren't here, you can vote on it. Even if you weren't here, it's up to you. You can always abstain. So I have a motion for July 22nd.
Now move to approve the July 22nd meeting minutes.
I have a second
2025.
and a second.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Travis.
Yes.
Mira.
Yes.
Noah.
Yes.
Jonathan.
Yes.
I am also a yes. That's unanimous. So do I have a motion for the August 19th meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Right.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Amira, are you on my screen?
Yes.
Noah.
Yes.
Travis.
Yes.
Jonathan.
Yes.
I am also a yes. That also passes, and that is unanimous. Okay. What's up next, Jan?
You're on mute, Jan.
Come
Thank
on.
you.
40 years, 5 years now.
Should know by now. We can go straight down the list. So the request for a partial certificate of compliance for 22 Clearview.
All right. So you guys went out and looked at it. So it's a partial, it's all set.
Correct. Yep. So it's asking to remove just this one lot from the entire subdivision. Site is stable, lawns established, and there's no wetlands or stormwater infrastructure on this site.
All right. Sounds good. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to issue the partial certificate of compliance for 22 Clearview Street.
All right. Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Travis.
Yes.
Amira.
Yes.
Noah.
Yes.
Jonathan.
Yes.
I am also a yes, and again carries unanimously. Okay. Up next, just keep on going down the list.
Sure.
I'm sorry, just making the agenda a little bit clearer for me to read. Okay, so next up is 3 Leland Street. This is for a request for certificate of compliance. Jan, why don't you give out your report?
Sure. So this was the first single family house that we had trigger our stormwater bylaw. And because of that, we were a little lenient. We didn't require peer review. and we waived some provisions for them. So we received an as-built and noticed that the as-built looked looked different than what we had approved on the plan. So I went out and performed a site visit on August 26th. So I think I'll probably just bring up some photos. Cool. So just to familiarize you, we approved for a barn to be completed along with some driveway here. So this is just a look at just the general site there. So we're looking northward this way at the front of the barn, like standing at the edge of the driveway. And this is in the back of the barn, looking that way. So looking southward. Let me bring up the plan that we approved. We did approve a bit of a minor change. There was supposed to be a retaining wall that went along the side of the barn that was supposed to run the entire length. I'll bring up the approved plan. So this was just a minor field change that was made. To end the retaining wall here when originally it was approved to run along the full length of the barn here, which included a swale just at the back here, and then a swale that went along the full length that almost encircled the barn. There's a level spreader proposed up here, and this swale then discharged down this way to into a culvert that went under the driveway and then to another level spreader here. And this whole area was graded as well over here. This barn here was constructed and the driveway around it. So this is the as-built plan, just to give you an idea. So we can see here that a boulder retaining wall was built instead. Well, the retaining wall, the swale up here that was supposed to encircle the barn was not constructed. And a boulder wall here was constructed. A riprap and boulder wall was constructed here. So when I went out and did my site visit, I saw that the culvert that runs under the driveway here was installed, but it was installed, it was approved to be 24 inches and it was installed at 12 inches. So we can go back to the photos. So this is just the graded area to the east of the barn. This is the inlet to the culvert here that discharges under the driveway. And there's already a little bit of erosion starting here. It's hard to see, but there's some rilling happening into the inlet of the culvert. So the culvert goes under the driveway and then discharges to a level spreader, which was hidden under this, was buried under the boulder and riprap slope west of the driveway. And I was not able to see the outlet of the culvert. It's under these rocks here. And this is just a picture of the boulder and riprap wall. And I took some measurements and found that in a few places, this boulder wall had actually encroached into the 25 no disturb area. So up at closer up this way at the base here, it was measuring from wetland flag 3, about 19 feet. And then down closer to this end of the driveway around wetland flag 18, it was measuring about 20 feet to the base of the wall down here.
Did you receive a report from their design engineer identifying compliance to the order of conditions and a detailed list of what is different from the design plan to what was actually built?
No, we didn't. We received the as-built plan and just a cover letter on top of that, but it didn't go into detail.
All right.
Another thing we noticed is The wetland sign says wetland habitat, keep off when we generally are required to say a protected wetland resource on the signs. We have that outlined in the order of conditions. So this is just a picture of the boulder wall that was constructed behind the barn. This approved swale was supposed to run along this crest here and then down alongside of the barn and then discharge to that culvert down that went under the driveway.
Okay.
And this is just another picture of the boulder wall behind the barn. And you can sort of see another freestanding wall here. So that freestanding wall is intended to be the level spreader that was approved at the northwest corner of the barn. There's nothing conveying water to it. Just another picture of the other way. There's water supposed to convey down this way and hit the level spreader here. So I brought that up to Mr. Johnson, who was there when I did the site visit, and he submitted this photo of the freestanding wall level spreader install. So we can just see how it was installed there. Yeah, and other than that, while I was there, I found that grass clippings had been dumped within the 25-foot no disturb area down closer to wetland flag 20. I told Mr. Johnson about this and he did remove the clippings immediately. Yeah, so that's all I have.
Okay. I get a few questions. To me, the first thing is typically when, and to be honest, this is just under this. This is both under our bylaw and under the stormwater.
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah. So typically we'd be looking for the design engineer to basically do a letter that says generally it says that it meets generally the design. Obviously, there's been definitely some changes from what the design was to what was actually built. From my perspective, should be the first thing. Give the designer, the professional engineer, an opportunity to describe all of the changes that were made, whether he knew about them or not, and also to that letter should also include how those changes impacted his design, and if he recommends any kind of remedial or corrective work done, because it's obviously not even, you don't have to be perfect, but you got to be close. And so that would be something I would say is a standard thing that's required, when especially you have a plan that's stamped by a professional engineer, that I would want to see up front before we do anything else. But we can continue to talk about that. Let me go around to the commissioners to see if anyone else has any other comments or questions. Travis.
I don't have a lot more to say than what you just said, Sandy. Aside from, it'd be good to know also why all these order of conditions weren't followed, and how they're going to be resolved so that they're compliant with the original permit that we issued a couple of years ago.
Okay. Noah, do you have any questions?
No questions from me.
Sure. Amira, any questions?
So the changes that were made and that we can see in the as-built plan, those changes required the engineer or just the person applying for the permit to come before the commission and kind of present these changes, correct?
Typically, if it was yes, that's what would happen on these type of changes. Like Jan mentioned, there was a minor change that was brought in front of us, correct, Jan?
No, that one was just a field change.
That was just a field change. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important to understand the difference between a field change and a design change. A field change may be something as simple as the shape of the swale is a little different, but the function's there. As far as a design change is not constructing the swale where it was originally proposed. A design change is going from a 24-inch pipe underneath the driveway to convey the stormwater across from the hillside to a 12-inch. So those are the things to me is the difference between kind of a field change and a design change. And those were the things that, that kind of highlight to me that, first of all, give the design engineer an opportunity to, go through this, describe all the changes, and find out from him if he recommends or she recommends, mitigation or corrective work or whatever. That's up to the applicant and their engineer to do that. So, but that is that's definitely a part of the, the process of getting a certificate of compliance. So.
Got it. Yeah, I just know that in the past, when people have had changes to their plans, they've come before us and presented those changes. So I was just curious if that probably should have been done in this case. But I guess we'll.
Right. And I would generally say in this case here, it should have been done.
Okay.
Jonathan, any additional questions or comments?
I echo the concerns that you have, Sandy, and what Travis brought up. It's just not a slight deviation. This looks more like a pretty significant deviation from what was designed.
So we do have the applicant here, and so I want to give him the opportunity or them the opportunity to explain how things changed and if they realize the type of changes they were doing that they were altering the design. So Mr. Johnston.
And we do have his engineer, John Frederico, in the attendees. So I'm going to promote him to speak.
Oh, great. Yep. And whether it's the homeowner or the engineer, I don't really mind who speaks. If someone could kind of just let us know why the changes happened.
I'm going to speak.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Johnson, we can't hear you.
All righty. How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're a little bit faded, but we can hear you.
Cool. Craig Johnston, the applicant, 3 Leland Street. First, I'd like to just say that this is the first project I have ever taken on of this scale, and from the onset, we made it a priority to engage, to hire only licensed professional, a professional engineering group, a reputable contractor, and a experienced site developer. I trusted these professionals that we hired guide us through the process. At present, as a layman, the site is currently stable with healthy natural growth throughout, even after Saturday's heavy rain. It looked like everything was working fine. The water was flowing down the hill, draining into the culvert. And then in the back of the building, there is a swale at the top of the hill that the water was running down to the left of the hill into that level spreader. So when I received when I received Dan's report, I quickly spoke with my site contractor, and I didn't know if it was wise to have him on at the meeting tonight, but I'm more than happy to walk through Dan's comments and see how best or what the next step is, working with the Conservation Commission to rectify these issues.
Yeah, and that's why I suggested that the engineer of record kind of give their opinion, just so that from just a pure thing of comparing 2 plans and looking at what's on them, it's changed. It's not what we had thought when we approved it. And so again, it's not like, it's one of those things where, like you said, what's the next steps? Well, my next step would be to have the design engineer do an assessment of, a letter saying, here's what changed. This is why it changed. This is still functioning or not functioning or whatever. Or if he says, well, it just needs this or that, it does, the site looks stable, but that's, and it was one storm, granted.
Yeah, understandable. Yeah,
Yeah,
agreed.
you know, so that to me is the next step is not to just say something like say like you have to rip it up and do exactly what was on the plans. Let's take a different approach, but we need to be since we issued a permit, we just need to make sure that we're complying with the design intent of that permit and to make sure that, it will function not just now, but in the future and so forth. And
Of course.
as Jan made kind of notice that, no, it didn't have a big gully running down, but there's the beginning of erosion, and whether that was because of the storm and those type of things. But it's one of those things where I'd like to do it kind of one step at a time and
Okay.
not jump. So if your engineers on the call, if they could kind of just go through and when they did the comparison, and if they can do basically what's usually typically required from the professional engineer, a letter when you do it or when you get a certificate of compliance. So Jan, status of the engineer.
You should be allowed to speak. John
Yeah, he's got his
Federico.
hand raised. So
Can you folks hear me?
yes, I can.
Oh, I am so sorry about that. I didn't see an option pop up for the video or anything. I wasn't sure if I was able to speak or anything on that end. So just for the record, John Federico with Gurrier and Hellnon. Unfortunately, I'm not the engineer of record for the plans, but I will be able to kind of help disseminate some of the information from tonight. We did provide a cover letter that we typically would provide with any of our certificate of compliance requests, and that letter, after reviewing the site with our PE, did feel that things were in substantial compliance. And as far as any of the changes noted, he did point out, I believe it was like 3 of the major changes that had occurred out there. I'll briefly just kind of go through a few of the points, and then I'm more than happy to answer any more specific questions.
Sure.
Regarding
Can you
the
hold on 1 second there. So
Sure.
Jan, did we get that cover letter?
Yep, I have it. I'll pull it up.
Okay. I didn't see it when I looked through the file before. And John, go ahead and
Oh
continue.
yeah, sorry about that. So as far as things go, regarding like the first comments about the riprap swale that was shown on the plans, we did look into that prior to stabilization occurring, and then we did have a second field visit once the grass on the hillside was stabilized to see if the riprap swale was going to be warranted. And based on the grading, everything that we had observed out on site, and the fact that the slopes did not appear as steep as initially when we were working on the design, the engineer did not feel that it was a substantial change where water is generally going to be directed towards the northwestern level spreader, as well as the southern flared end section. Regarding anything on the flared end section and that pipe, he did also look into that based on field observations, the fact that we didn't appear to see any sort of standing water. He did feel that 12-inch pipe was acceptable for the flows that we do have out there. And we were able to, during one of our as-builts, prior to full construction of the wall, we're able to identify where that pipe location was. And in one of the photos provided by Jan, you did see a portion of that level spreader that was sticking out. So at least on our opinion, that is functioning as intended for that portion of the site. The reason for the riprap slope or boulder slope, however you'd like to call that out, going a little bit closer towards the wetlands and into the no disturb. Unfortunately, during construction, the contractor had run into some ledge out on site. And after trying to break up ledge as best as possible, from an overall standpoint, a decision was made to shift the building forward. And as a part of that shift, the stone wall also had shifted as well. Unfortunately, our office did not catch that change until the as-built portion, or else we would have come back in front of you for the amended order of conditions there. So we do apologize on that end for it. But overall, it would be in our opinion that any work to try to remove that wall and pull anything out of the no disturb buffer could potentially create more disturbance to that buffer zone, especially now that everything has fully vegetated in and become stabilized throughout the whole entire site. In terms of our recommendation for any sort of remedial action, typically we're not dealing in the no disturb buffer too much. And honestly, we wanted to get the opinions of the Conservation Commission. On other sites where we might have had these type of disturbances, we might ask to remove, any invasive species that are on site, or kind of follow the direction of the Conservation Commission on that end. I'm not aware if the site does have anything like that, but we're more than happy to discuss any sort of options. And if we do have to revise and resubmit anything to the commission, we will do so expediently possible there.
I appreciate that. So just curious, when you move the building and you move things, you didn't think that you had to come back in front of the Conservation Commission?
That change was not, at least to my knowledge, was not mentioned to us until we went in for the as-built portion and then saw that the building had shifted forward.
Okay. So some of the things were decisions of the contractor and so forth. And I get you hit ledge. I understand that part of it type of thing. And, some things, when you go from a field change to an actually design change, there's a line you cross. And, from our perspective, as we've always said, we're here to protect the wetlands. We're here. There's a reason for no disturb zone, which helps protect that, the wetlands and so forth. So those things are what we're really concerned with. And of course, the other main item is the stormwater. So I think it would be helpful, and I will go around to the rest of the Conservation Commission to ask is if we do, since you have the original design and you have the as-built, it will be very easy to do a comparison between the two. And just so that we understand, you could do something as simple as, take the original design and, it can be read and the new design is the new design. And I think it would be very helpful for the commission to understand when you say something shifted, shifting something 6 inches or 12 inches or 2 feet is one thing, shifting it 10 or 12 feet is another. And so that would be kind of for us to understand kind of the magnitude of the shifts. And now that you're into the no disturb, instead of being 6 to 27 feet from the wetlands, you're now 20 feet. So it'd be really helpful for us as a commission to to understand that, as far as making decisions on whether you should remove the riprap that's in the no disturb, and is that more of a impact to the that buffer area or not. I don't think we're going to make that decision tonight. I think it would be very helpful if you gave us more details about that, just to understand. You say riprap over slope constructed in the no disturb. Okay, what does that mean? 5 feet from the wetlands, 15 from the wetlands, 24. So I think that amount of information would be helpful. And since you already have the as-built, that should be fairly straightforward. And then I would suggest, kind of your, I'd call it corrective actions. You should kind of put that in a letter of what you think needs to be done to meet the intent of the original design. So if you have, 24-inch pipe underneath the driveway, it has the, carrying capacity of a certain CFS. And now you have a 12-inch, and we know that's not just half of it. We know it's probably a third or less of the carrying volume. And just to compare what was going to that pipe previously and what's going there now, has that changed? Those type of things of being a little bit more informative and detailed on what the as-built is. And then I think, I will, rely on you to come up with what you think is best for your client, as far as proposing kind of what can be done what is, what in your opinion meets the previous design intent, just so that we can, start having a conversation. I'm not for just saying, as I said before, rip it up and put it back the way exactly. We're here. Let's look at, from our perspective, how we're going to protect the wetlands and make sure the stormwater is being addressed as was originally intended in the original design. So,
Sure. I do have a follow-up question, if you don't mind.
sure.
On other projects where the commission's been involved in, where a no disturb area may have been touched in any way, shape, or form, has the commission been in favor of one remedial action versus another? Just because I know when we go to have this discussion again with our PE on things, as well as Mr. Johnson and his family, we just want to make sure that we are taking into account what is typically going on in the town of Grafton, as well as something that we also feel is going to be enough mediation for any disturbances.
So, in a number of cases, it's not always that big of an intrusion, and typically you move whatever's in it and you restore the vegetation with appropriate plantings and those type of things. I don't remember off the top of my head. A little too many projects have come in front of the commission since I've been on it to kind of pick out, alternatives to removing that. I'll leave it up to you to make a good case for whatever you want to do.
Okay.
Again, we're trying to protect the wetlands and make sure that the stormwater, because it's required a stormwater permit, that we're meeting those criteria, and
Sure.
find out a path to that hopefully is not, hopefully doesn't further disturb the no disturb or something else. And then, but again, I think the only other thing that we may do, but I'll wait till we get this additional information, is maybe ask our peer review engineers to take a look at it. I may be a professional engineer, but I am a volunteer on this commission and I do not perform civil engineering duties. So I don't feel comfortable just reviewing it myself. I would rather, for the applicant's perspectives, to have a third party, peer reviewer to take a look at that. But why don't you go through your process first before we see it, so that we can have a better sense of exactly what has changed, which we know it's changed. We just don't know by how much.
Sure.
We don't know what the impacts are. So.
Sure, that won't be a problem. We'll make sure that we do circle back with Mr. Johnson on things, and we'll have our PE provide a little bit more information on his analysis for the pipe flow, as well as some of the other drainage concerns that were expressed. Obviously, we want to make sure that everything is done right for the town of Grafton here. So, anything that we can do to offer an appropriate mitigation, we are more than happy to do so. And obviously, we'll make sure that if we do have to go through any other actions, we'll follow appropriate measures on that portion.
I appreciate that. Let me go around the commission again, just to give other commissioners any kind of any other questions they have or any other suggestions. Travis, you have to be up there, so you get to go first.
I think you covered everything.
All right, Noah.
Well, I'm happy with the suggestions that have been talked about already.
Amira.
I guess I would like to better understand. So in the previous order of conditions, there were a couple of waivers granted. And I think it was like against strict compliance to the Grafton stormwater management bylaws. And I guess I would like to understand if this plan, had it been submitted in front of the commission, whether it would whether that waiver would have been evaluated. Does that make sense?
Yeah, a different way to say that is that they requested waivers from our stormwater bylaw because of the way it was designed.
Right.
With the way it was built, would you have had further waivers or more extensive impacts that may have changed the process of deciding whether those waivers were accepted.
Right.
So yeah, I think so. No, I think that's excellent. Good to bring up. So it just says another thing is to make sure that the waivers that were granted that are still applicable to the what was actually constructed. So I think that's good.
Yeah, that's my main concern, because there was some leniency granted in the first place for this. It's just kind of big deviation.
Right.
It seems like.
And if you don't mind me asking, with the are still applicable in any way, shape, or form, is that something that
You're
you
cutting
would
out
be
a bit. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I didn't hear the beginning of.
I apologize for that.
Yeah.
As far as the discussion about the waivers, if they were still applicable, if this design presented tonight was presented to the commission initially, would that be something that would be coming from the town side, and you folks would be letting us know if you felt it's still applicable, or as a part of our updated analysis, you would like us to confirm or deny if those would still be applicable there?
I think it's from my perspective, the waivers were requested by the applicant, so the applicant should discuss how these construction changes have impacted those waiver requests, and then we can review that. So
Sure.
per the permit, they were granted, but were they sufficient? And was the waiver sufficient for what has been built now? So we just want to make sure. Just a good kind of question for Meredith, that what we had previously voted on is still applicable, or is there another waiver required?
Sure.
So
Thank you for that clarification.
anything else, Amira?
No, nothing else.
Thank you. Jonathan.
I don't have anything else to add to what's already been said.
Okay. Jan, so kind of you understand where we're at now?
Yes.
So let me ask the applicant so you're in front of us to get a certificate of compliance. We can just, continue this discussion. I don't think we need to, I'll ask the commission. I don't think we need to deny the certificate of compliance. We're just, it's up to you if you want us to vote on it or not. But I think it's pretty clear we would not issue the certificate of compliance. But,
Crystal clear. I'd rather not have you vote on it.
okay.
John, do you know how long it's going to take you to do the items that they're requesting of you?
As far as the culvert analysis, that should be something we can turn around definitely before the next meeting. If we are to submit any information, do you folks need to have that like a week or two before the meeting, or this is just something that we can submit a couple of days prior just to give you a chance to take a look and further discuss it?
So that's a good question. So first, let's start with Jan. When's the next meeting?
The next meeting is September 23rd, and we would need any documents a week prior to that, which would be the 16th, so a week from today.
Okay. It would be in our opinion to not vote or anything on the certificate of compliance, especially where we will be providing some additional information there. So if it is possible to do it as a continuance, that would be my preference for it. And then in the event that we still need a little bit of time after the 16th to possibly address any of these concerns, I can speak with Mr. Johnson and follow up with Jan or anybody at the commission office to request a further extension there. And then we could provide like a status update if we needed just another week or where we are kind of in our review of things.
Yeah.
I
So
think I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
If I could just ask the next question. Dan, if you don't mind, what's the following date for the meeting?
The following after that would be October 7th.
John, is that a better date for all of us, just to make sure we have everything we need so we're not wasting the commission's time?
That would be a more ideal date for us, but not sure if the commission or you, Mr. Johnson, would be in favor of pushing it out that far.
Well,
So-
it's not up to me. It's up to the commission. If they can
So-
set that date.
Right. So this is a request for certificate of compliance. So we're not in a permit process at this moment. So if you want to come back October 7th, we don't have to do a continuance or anything. We would just appreciate the fact that you said that you do not wish us to vote on this. That's fine. That we'll just kind of wait till you get back to staff and say, hey, we'd like to be in front for this action item on October 7th. That, Jan,
Okay.
that's right. I mean, this is not a public hearing. It's so you have the flexibility. To be quite honest, I appreciate the fact that you're going through this process. Sometimes we have to chase people down to do a certificate of compliance. So we're happy that you're in front of us. But as far as, we just want to work this out. And if
Sure.
you need that extra 2 weeks, we have no problem with that. So
I would appreciate that, and our preference right now would be to go back in front of you folks on the 7th meeting.
So just, on that case there, it would be reaching out and contacting us with the information, 7 days ahead of time.
Sure.
So that it can get on the agenda. And again, it will be on the agenda as an action item.
Okay, great. If anything that we do submit after you folks have a chance to do an initial review, if that did have to go to peer review or anything, is there a peer review fee that would be associated with that, or is that something that's just done just to make sure our supplemental information is appropriate in this case?
So good question. We've had the same peer reviewer. All of the town departments have the same peer reviewer. They're pretty reasonable, but yes, there would be a fee to do that. I guess what I'm trying to do is give you the opportunity to give us information before we ask you to do that.
Sure. In that case, we'll definitely try to make sure that we get you the information as soon as possible, well before that week deadline, so that once you have a chance to take a look at the updated information, if we do have to follow up accordingly on anything, we do have some time before that October 7th meeting just to keep everything moving forward.
The other thing that we can do is Jan, you can reach out to Graves and kind of get an estimate for this type of what we're doing here. So that you would understand, so that we would have it ahead of time. So, yeah.
Yep, I can do that.
Yeah. We're not looking to have everything go in front of peer review,
Understood.
but this one is kind of changed in the field. So.
Sure. No problem. If you could definitely provide that information beforehand, we would appreciate it, whether we need to go that route or not. We'll make sure that a couple of these points we'll address and reflect anything as far as any updates go. If we had to show any sign locations or anything like that might have been missing from the plan, we'll make sure all that's reflected on there appropriately.
Right. Yeah. And again, we're more than happy to, have our staff share all of their comments and so forth with you, so you understand what we're looking at. I would guess I will probably go take a look at the site. So to Mr. Johnston, I would say, we have the right to go on the site. We will give you the heads up on when we're going to come. And it's just walking outside. That's it. It's just a pretty straightforward. So. Okay.
I know Mr. Johnson was available when Jan had conducted her site visit. If Mr. Johnson is available for any future site visits, you can always feel free to reach out to our office, and either myself or one of our other engineers there can make themselves available to walk the site with you if need be.
Okay. And we'll discuss amongst the commission. We don't typically do a group visit just because we have to do open meeting stuff, all that kind of fun stuff. But again, we'll chat with everyone here and see who wants to go out and so forth. But again, this is fairly straightforward. It's really just looking at a garage and what's being put around it and so forth. So,
Sure. No, I do appreciate your folks' time tonight. Thank you very much. Mr. Johnson, I will turn it over to you in case you do have any final comments. But at this point here, I think I'm all set with everything we need to get us moving forward with this.
Sounds good to me.
No, I don't have any. I'm all set. I appreciate your time, and hopefully we can figure this thing out.
Okay.
That's the end goal, and whatever you guys need, we'll try to get here.
All right, appreciate that. And that's, we're trying to do, trying to follow what we're supposed to be doing as part of the commission.
Completely
And-
understood.
Yep. All right. Thank you very much.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
You too. All right, Jan, what's next?
We can pass over the request for a certificate of compliance for 8 Millennium Drive. We're just waiting on their erosion control to come up. So we'll
Okay.
get that next time. So the next is the acceptance of the baseline report for 179 through 183 Upton Street.
Okay. So these are the ones, along Silver Lake. So a couple of folks on here probably have no clue what we're talking about. So I will kind of do a brief discussion. So basically, from time to time, parcels that were under a certain protection for agricultural and so forth, when they go to sell it, they have to have first refusal to the town because of the way the taxes are set up. The town then can, if they wish to, buy it and purchase it based on a whole procedure. As part of that procedure, we are putting, this happens to be 179 to 183 Upton Street, which is right along Silver Lake. It's called the Robinson Lots. They had done a subdivision there. So the town, because it's abutting other open space, they basically decided to purchase the property. So once the town purchases it, and we want to have a conservation restriction put on it, this is the fun part. And if you want to know more about this, actually, MACC has actual presentation and training on this, on conservation restrictions, which I think I'm going to attend sometime because they do come up. So conservation restriction has to be held by not the owner of the property. So if the owner of the property is the town of Grafton, then we will have a conservation restriction held by typically the Grafton Land Trust. And Jan, that's the way this one is set up.
That's right.
So the Grafton Land Trust will own or will hold the conservation restriction. So the kind of conservation restriction basically doesn't allow for any, it's how it's written. It typically, for this one here, would allow any kind of development or whatever, but you can do certain, sometimes certain work around it for hazardous trees and stuff like that. So there's a state template that we typically use for the conservation restriction. And now what we're asking this way is that part of that process, they have to do what's called a baseline report, which describes the site. And Jan, if you have any more descriptive on what the baseline report is.
So it's walked through by someone qualified to do a baseline report, and it just kind of is what it sounds like. They assess the area, they get a baseline of what it looks like, where the boundaries are, what resource areas are on there, and put them in a report, just as the beginning of the CR process.
Right. So at this point, what we're doing is we're not voting on the conservation restriction document. We're voting to accept the baseline report that is part of the process to get to the conservation restriction. And then when we get the conservation restriction, we'll have another opportunity to review it. It's a lot of legalese. I typically look at what uses are allowed. As an example, passive recreation or hiking or something would be an allowed use. An example of conservation restriction is the golf course. And so there's certain use allowances under that restriction. So, but we're not there yet. We're just talking about the baseline report. And basically the staff has reviewed that. And so they're recommending that we accept it. So we need to do a vote on that. So I will go around and ask people if they have questions. I know I always have to look up stuff when these things come up. So, Amara, do you have any questions on this?
I don't think so.
Yeah, but it's good. It's kind of
It's
one
a
of those
good thing.
things. It is a good thing. In our open space plan, these lots have always been identified because they connect existing open space. So this is, we've been watching these lots for a long time. The money, a lot of, CPC money was used to buy these. So there's a whole process here, and Grafton's very proactive about this stuff. So we're working the plan. So it's all, from my perspective, that's good. So but that's pretty much what it is. So
Yeah.
let me,
No questions, just exciting stuff.
yeah,
Good.
great. Jonathan, any questions?
Nope. No questions. Seems straightforward.
Yep. Noah, any questions?
No questions.
Travis?
There's a really cool photo on page 32 of an ice house. And then the training Sandy mentioned, the MACC training, I took at least one of them on the CRs, and it was pretty good. So
Yeah.
It's a little more interesting than the permitting stuff. So I just
No,
really
it's-
encourage you to take some of those.
Yeah.
This is the fun stuff.
Cool.
It-
Yeah,
we
the
have
photo
money.
is Spicer's Ice House,
Cool.
circa
Yeah.
1915.
Yep.
But no questions. This looks good to me.
Yep. And again, it's like the MACC is going to be doing their fall blitz, which is when they do all the fundamentals and stuff. So there's going to be a lot of stuff available to take. And we have our fall conference. Oh, I should know the date. I had the board meeting last night. I don't remember the date off the top of my head, but that's something that always has a lot of good, classes and sessions and stuff on that. So.
Yeah, I had a wetland delineation for beginners today. That
Oh,
was
did
cool.
you? Oh,
Yeah.
we actually, that's funny because I had the MAC board last night meeting and they were talking about that.
Yeah.
And it was like, was that Mike Howard who was doing who's the instructor?
I can't remember his name.
Okay.
Probably. It probably
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. They're professionals. That's what
Yeah.
they do. And stuff,
Yeah,
so.
it was a good class.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And then Noah, those are the type of things that you want to learn more about. There's definitely a lot of availability of taking different classes and so forth. So
Yeah, send me an email if you have any questions. No, I've been taking a lot of the classes. It's been
Yeah, I
Really
definitely
fun.
will, because there's seems like a lot.
there is, and like I said, Travis took the CR class, and it's like I was listening to what was what was going on with it. I'm like, God, that's one, because they're going to update it. And I'm like, God, that's one I wanted to, because it comes in front of us and that's not my background. I know just enough about it to be dangerous. So it's just, yeah. So, all right. Having kind of said that and filled it in. So we need to have, we need a motion, right, Jan, to accept it?
That's right.
All right. So can I have a motion to accept the baseline report for 179, 183 Upton Street?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Amira,
yes.
Travis,
Yes.
Jonathan,
Yes.
Noah.
Yes.
I'm a yes, an enthusiastic, unanimous vote. So, other than that, Jan, are we down to the last motion?
That's all we got.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Jonathan,
Yes.
Travis,
Yes.
Amira,
Yes.
Noah.
Yes.
I am also a yes. Thank you very much.